2022 Endurance eRacing World Championship brought to you in partnership with Viper Gaming by Patriots, Azatec Sim Sports, Global Flix, Motorvision.tv, Stengolm, ESTV and Film Vault Limited.
Just think about the fun things you do online. Diving into movies you love. Shopping. Enjoying free Wi-Fi with your morning coffee. Wait, who's that guy? Meet the Digital Snooper. It can be your internet service provider peeking at what you do online. Or a cyber criminal on a mission to snitch your credit card info. Or a hacker at the next table trying to steal your sensitive data. Uh-oh. But don't worry. NordVPN keeps all these snoopers away. It makes your internet activity private, protects you from accessing dangerous websites, and lets you enjoy your favorite content securely, even while away from home. The best part? It's just a click. Yep, internet security is that easy.
You can get NordVPN today at a 60% discount by visiting gtr24h.org/VPN. Racing for Green is here to help you carbon neutralize your racing. By planting new trees, Racing for Green offers to make your racing carbon neutral. We already have the calculations, contacts, infrastructure, deals and solutions ready for you to easily buy carbon neutral laps on any racetrack. It doesn't matter if you are a racing fan, team owner, driver, sponsor or partner. Anyone can buy CO2 neutral laps in the Racing for Green webshop and trade CO2 emissions for New Forest. Racing for Green.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the EEWC round number 4 with the 12 hours of Interlagos here at GTR 24H. It's Alicia Neto doing a bit of lawn mowing on the outside of Jun Chao, now behind the Aston Martin of Evan Aguado, who's been keeping the MCM Aston company for quite a while. Now, Maria Rinhag did mention to me at the break something about Stickergate between Burst and Glam Racing. I did see something about it in Discord, but I don't know what it is. So hopefully I'll get some details on what was going on. I think, wasn't it that I think Burst offered to put some stickers on the Glam Racing car, or the other way around? I forget now. But one of them offered to put stickers on the other car, I think it was. Speaking of Glam, we just spotted them going out of the shop there. Callum Wilson is back in control of the Glam 404, but he is nearly a lap behind Alicia Neto now. There is the second place GT3 being caught by the GT3 leader with the MCM car right in the way. Then the MCM car finds itself nearly a minute and a half behind Wojciech Polesny, next in class in the GTEs, who has been taking away some of the lead the DIS portion now has over the Duties Motorsport GTE entry. So later on we could well see a GTE battle going on. Also, during the break, a warning given to car number 17. That's the Unison DPI car, Denis Sichenko, for going outside the white line. So the warning has been issued to the Unison DPI car for that one. And the ever-exciting weather update. Is the rain still up there in the top left? No, even the rain's had enough and gone. So no. Blue skies and burning hot for Interlagos. Of course, the temperature will drop as we get towards the dark hours. As David Mrocek has brought in the number 18 car. The Esports Complexity car has just been brought in. What's... Oh, it's coffee. I'm assuming it's coffee. Why not? Seemingly that's his partner that's looming in the background of the shop. So it's nice doing racing for the team and being supplied with a refreshment in the course of his duties. Good job. Robert Parron has been in control of the LMP2 contingent for quite a while, as we ride on board with... Who are we riding on board with? Not actually sure which car we're on board with at the minute. Oh, it's Aslan. Yes, beg your pardon, Nabil Aslan, the 79 axle car. Couldn't quite tell from that angle. I couldn't see enough of the livery, but yes, there we go. So, been doing his best to get up to speed in the LMP2s, but unfortunately has been a little bit off the pace of the other two LMP2 entries, Robert Parron and Tom Aldermeyer, for Deuces and Burst, respectively. That's been a little bit unfortunate because the first Aslan of Nakib Aslan was doing a storming job in that car. But Nabil's a little bit off that pace, but plenty of time for that to change. So again, no disrespect, men. I certainly couldn't do what they are doing. That's why I go for the commentary box seat. Yeah, much easier as far as I'm concerned. There's Tom Aldermeyer. That has got, what's he got? 37 seconds gap between himself and Robert Pound, which in itself is not actually too bad after 4 hours of racing in Interlagos. Yes, the lap is fairly short, but it's still not a bad gap at all. Denis Sichenko, well, he doesn't have to do anything with the warning, just has to try and not wander wide too many times. And GTE still led by DIS as mentioned, and the Deuces car is in. So Wojciech Polesny has brought the number 74 car into the pits, as we see just watching there. Tom's dual spectacle wearing efforts again, and the raincoat in the background. Again, I question not the raincoat. Wojciech Polesny, as I say, in the pits. He's not been in the car too long, so he shouldn't be handing that over to anybody. Ivan Aguado, I think, has been in the MCM car possibly since the start, actually. So out comes Wojciech Polesny, the Deuces car back on the road. Still second in GTE. I think that's the Musto Pescara car. That's Michael Francesconi. He's just coming past. Is Tom going to come in? No, he's got no indication he's going to do so. Right further down. Well, speaking of Francesconi, he's actually setting some pretty decent lap times in the Porsche. 1:30.695 last time around. There's Wojciech Polesny, right with the aforementioned Musto Pescara number 53. That's getting a bit close. And the Porsche lets the Aston through. Is absolutely correct. And the Porsche will just loiter behind the Aston, get a bit of slipstream where he can. But the pace from that Porsche has not been too bad. He's got some distance to try and close in, but Michael Francesconi has not been doing a bad job in that number 53 car at all. And also, third of the way through the race and still only one casualty, which was from a mistake, hitting the escape key out of frustration, which was Nikolai Bedrikov in the 717 Unison Racing BMW. It's the only one we've lost thus far. We've had a few spins, a few attempts to rearrange the ball, but nothing horrendously bad. Nothing has seen anyone stay in the pit lane for hours on end, which is always good to see. Who else can we have a look at? Just looking at the times. Elisa Neto and Ivan Aguado are still really close together. Now the GT3 car behind the GTE, but they're the closest kind of on-track positions we've got, and there they are. So Alicia will gain nothing by challenging Ivan Aguado other than slipstream. That's the only thing really the Audi's going to gain. But if Alicia Neto felt he was being obstructed or slowed down by Aguado, he could make that pass. He could regain that position again. Perfectly allowed to do so. Still waiting to hear what the sticker gate was between Burst and Glam. Hopefully, I see Maria is providing me an update on that one. So I'll be able to report on what that was about earlier on. And say I did see something in Discord, but didn't kind of. I saw that it was mentioned. That's all I noticed before we got underway. As they've now got. Oh, they've just been passed by the Burst car. Nothing they need to worry about. Okay, so it was not messing around. I'm trying to make things a bit more exciting today. Well, in fairness, the on-track ratings have been pretty good thus far. She's picked up a lot of Glam Racing stickers that he was going to put on the Burst cars. Nice. Why not? Good effort there to add a bit more to the stream. Oh, another message popping up. What's happened here? Oh, it's a warning to our lead DPI. Car number 18 has got themselves a warning. So that is the Burst Esports and the hands of David Mrochek. So race control have said steady on, and they don't need to push hard. I mean, they've got a huge lead up front. They don't need to be pushing particularly hard, but he's doing his best to continue to build that lead. You never know. A safety car could be deployed. They could make a horrendous mistake in the dark or whatever, and that lead could disappear. Yes, I grant you, but they don't necessarily need to push absolutely 10/10 all the time. And the race control warning has been issued. It probably isn't going to slow them down by a huge amount, let's be honest, because Darren Mrochek is blindingly fast driving in whatever he's in. As through past us goes after the aforementioned Darren Mrochek over the line to complete another lap, closely followed by Alicia Neto and Ivan Aguado. Was there anything else to report on? Not at this stage. There's Tom Aldermenger in the pits. How long is he going to be in there for? Let's see. You see the yellow number on the side of the car, counting up. And Bill Aslan now leads the LMP2 class, so Robert Pound has been in the pits at some point. And Tom Aldermenger is now in the pit lane. How long is he going to be there for? Is that going to be another 53? There he goes. So more tyres on the car. As we see Tom Aldermenger in the picture there. The reason why he's not driving the car is that's gone over to Damien Scobron. He's not driving with the power of his mind. Damien Scobron has taken over the car. I'm going to see some shadows out there. I'm not sure. What's the local production? What's the local time in trackside at the moment? So I wonder if darkness is beginning to fall, because I'm starting to see the headlights shining on the road now. No idea. I wonder if we're starting to lose a bit of daylight. I should be able to. Time in Sao Paulo. That's not the time we're using, because it'd be 1:15 if that was the case. R18 missed. They need to fix it within 4 laps. Drive-through penalty will be given. Okay. Car 18 missed the number in the front of the name. Not sure what was quite meant by that message. So okay, so right, so yeah, so it is. Yeah, hadn't spotted that, and that's actually a yellow flag for Darren Mrocek. Oh yes, I had only just spotted that. So he's actually, so yeah. Okay, now, so thank you, production, for highlighting that one. So you can see actually Darren Mrocek's name, he doesn't have the car number in front of the name, which everybody else does. And that's a rule requirement to have that in place so the race control can easier identify people. So I suspect, yeah, so it's much easier for race control to identify cars and people and what have you. So that's why Darren Mrocek, unless he had a different, a different issue. Yeah, interestingly, Darren Mrocek's camera's off. It's been on all night, all race long, but that's now turned off. He's probably out of frustration. So unless he had a different issue, but if he doesn't sort that, he will be penalised and will be given a drive-through penalty as per 1.5.2 in the rules. If he doesn't comply within 4 laps, he will then get a drive-through penalty, and if he doesn't comply in another 4 laps, another drive-through again until that issue is fixed. There you go. You can see in Alessio Neto's name, he's got the 585 in front of his name, and every driver has the same, or every team has the same thing. I hadn't actually spotted that Mrocek has the same thing, and that's now been brought to light. So Darren Mrocek will need to sort that. Otherwise, the drive-through penalties are going to eat into the lead that Burst have, and potentially, if that's not served, that could then lead to a disqualification. Darren Mrocek is still circulating, so he could well try and time that with a pit stop. Yeah, we will see what he chooses to do. Okay, so catching up with a few messages there, apologies. Right, so that's something that Darren Mrocek will need to sort through fear of getting a drive-through penalty. So, should be fairly easy for him to sort out. I suspect he's going to try and time it with a pit stop so that he loses as little time as possible on the road. There's still a lap difference. There, right behind them, is the second DPI car. So there is literally a difference between the two. Obviously, he's going to be stationary whilst sorting that out. So, can he sort it and maintain the lead for Burst? We will have to see. I was sort of thinking in my head, will there be an argument of, I didn't know I had to do that, or why have you waited this long to do it? Well, he's literally the only driver that hasn't done it. So it is a known rule to have the driver number, or the team number, in front of the driver name. And still no sign of Mrocek actually sorting that out. So, could be trouble for the number 18 if that isn't resolved fairly soon. There's a big collection of cars here, of which Mrocek is right in the middle of. Oh, the Aztec car getting a bit wiggly. That's Alessio Neto just dipping a wheel onto the grass. along with Aguado doing the same thing. With various LMPs around, or the two DPIs and an LMP, I should say. The LMP is Damien Scovron. The other, or the burst LMP car, that's working his way through the field. Oh yeah, Lisa nearly getting into the back of the Aston of Ivan Aguado. There's Nabil Aslan now having pitted himself. He's now at the tail end of the LMPs with 29 seconds to try and close in. Damien Scovron is less than a second behind Denis Sashenko. So there was a battle for third overall on the road between the LMP and the DPI. There's Scovron. And there's Sashenko. And there is Damien's camera. Oh, Sashenko, that looked very, very deep coming out of the center S's. That keeps it on the straight and narrow nonetheless. And just looking through if there's any other battles forming. Not at the moment. And Scovron then. What's he going to do here? Is he going to try and stay with the DPI? If he can grab a bit of a toe down the straighter parts, or is he going to try and get past him? Last lap around, not even a tenth difference between. Oh no, beg your pardon. No, Damien Scovron was slightly slower. I was looking at Robert Powell and Denis Sashenko there. There's our GTE leader, the DIS Sim Racing Lab Porsche. That lead has dropped quite a way down to pit stops though. There's the lead now about 50 seconds between Deuces and DIS. And we saw Voiter go through the pit lane earlier on, but that lead has come down to just under 50 seconds between the Aston and the Porsche. So DIS will have some defending to do before the race is done, I would think, at that kind of rate. But between then and now, there's going to be a lot of pit stops, a lot of driver changes, tyre changes, what have you. So it's difficult to be able to predict any further ahead as Nabil Aslan comes over the line again. 21.263 for the 79 axle car. Tiny bit quicker than Damien Scovron. And slightly slower than Robert Powell. So he's getting back onto the pace of the LMP2s, which is good to see. There is Scovron. He's still having an argument with Denis Sashenko. Wow, that looked close from that particular angle. But again, this is where the LMP2 is really, really strong compared to the DPI in this sector. Oh, Struth again, very, very close. But now the DPI can start to get the horses galloping. We'll build up a little bit of a gap between the two cars. And a face full of sparks. And Scovron's gone to the inside line on Sashenko. Oh, no. And Denis Sashenko's gone for a spin as a result of that. Oh, dear. Scovron was... it was for an on-track position, so strictly speaking, he was allowed to do it. But that didn't look a very clean overtake, unless Sashenko kind of panicked and made the spin on his own. That was very, very unfortunate for the Unison DPI car there. And the penalty has been issued to the number 18 car. He still hasn't fixed. Darren Rocek has not fixed the naming issue. Oh dear. So Denis Sashenko has now come into the pits following that spin and is now dropped behind the LMP2 cars. As Damien Scovron has now found the burst DPI car of Darren Rocek. He's not going to have the same argument with the sister car, is he? Well, we'll see. But what does Rocek do? That's going to be the burning question. He can't keep earning himself drive-through penalties. You'll be disqualified eventually if you just keep earning penalties just because you don't want to solve a particular issue. What does he do this time around? Does Rocek come in? Answer is he does not. Oh dear. We will see if he's going to come in at some point, as we see Skavron right behind Wojtek Pelesny, who's maintaining the gap to the DIS car. It's just over 50 seconds now. It's gone up ever so slightly. If any of the teams want to come and have a chat to us, we'll happily have a natter to any driver that wishes to come on the stream with us and have a chat. We are always happy to have a chat to our drivers. We've spoken to a few in the run-up to now. But by all means, anybody else who wish to make yourselves known, then by all means do so. We'd be glad to have you with us. It's ideal if you have a camera, but it's not absolutely necessary. Just need to join us on TeamSpeak and we'll bring you in. That's Skavron up to. So there's the DPI car just going out of the shot. There's Nabil Aslan. It's ever so slightly quicker than Skavron last time around. So he's now getting regularly into the 21s, which is good to see. As he's catching the back of it's now Maciej Kasperczyk in the Azatec car. So the GT3 lead car hasn't changed hands. And past the Audi goes the LMP with a face full of traffic now waiting to greet him. Well, the Gajahusik car is on the back of the NCM's car, which Ivan Aguade still has possession of. He doesn't want to hand the toys over. Oh, there's the Musto Pescara Porsche, Michael Francesconi. Stay there. There's the DIS Sim Racing Porsche. Sim Racing Lab Porsche, I should say. Still leading, as now 51 seconds, so that gap has increased a little bit since we last looked, to 30.150 for the number 45 Porsche. And there is David Mrocek, still yet to serve his penalty. You only have 3 or 4 laps to actually serve the penalty itself. Otherwise, a disqualification will loom. So, what is he going to do? Surely he's got to come. So we've got a replay of the 17 Unison DPI car coming up. So this is as they're coming through Mugello into Junshao. Oh no, it kind of looked like the pass was done before the spin happened. So it could, I mean, he certainly got a bit of a squeeze and then came into the pits anyway. So it could be that it wasn't Artem Shulev. Artem Shulev's the one in the car now, I think. Yes, he is. So that wasn't Shulev that had that happen to. So it was a bit of a punch in the face there, but it wasn't a very big hit at all. There's Matthias Harvick being closed in by the GT3 leader of Kasperczyk. Now, will Mrocek come in this time? This could, I mean, you do not want to disqualify the team because of the name being slightly incorrect. But he can't just keep ignoring the penalty. He's got to come in and deal with it soon, or face a much bigger penalty, as mentioned. There's Ivan Aguado. So I'm pretty sure he started that Aston, so he's been in there. What's coming up to 4.5 hours now. That is quite some way he's been in there. There's the DIS Sim Racing Lab Porsche. It's continuing its merry way. Still 50 seconds ahead of the Duties Aston. So that gap is just maintaining itself at this point in time. And Mrocek has he come in, or has that penalty been... he's just gone through. He's gone through the pits, but of course the issue isn't resolved because of course he didn't stop. But I wonder whether he's just going to carry on going until he hands that car over to, I believe it's Yannis Simoncic. That's why I think Garrett has not come in to stop to sort the issue, because he's handing the car over soon, because I can see that Yannis Simoncic is limbering up ready to get going. So that is why I think that issue has not been resolved. Yeah, they maybe couldn't have change driver any earlier because there was no one ready. But now there seems to be, like I say, Jene Simoncic is ready to roll. Oh, it looks like he's ready to roll. We'll see if he comes in to see if David hands the car over fairly soon. Otherwise, there's going to be another drive-through penalty incurred. We look at Artem Shualev, number 17 car, still turning the miles, still sending the laps. What was it, 120.541 last time around. Who else can we look at? Well, the rest of the field are, as we say, just kind of minding their own business at the moment. As Shualev is close to the back of... trying to work out who that is he's close to. Skowron. That's the Burst LMP2 car he's close to. Now Damien Skowron is ahead, on track position-wise, than Shualev. So there's no blue flag rule going on here. Skowron doesn't have to just jump out of the way just because there's a faster class of car behind him. That one, however, will need to kind of get out of the way or to really, stay predictable so everyone can go past him at least. And that's exactly what the DIS Sim Racing Lab Porsche does. Make sure he realizes that Shualev is on the inside line. That's close. You can really now start to see the sunset taking effect. So the shadows are becoming much more pronounced. We are heading into the dark hours. And we're also, I've just realised, we're a couple of minutes past our usual commercial break. So absorbed so much in the racing that we completely missed it. So let's have a word from our commercial sponsors.
The 2022 Endurance eRacing World Championship brought to you in partnership with Viper Gaming by Patriots, Aztec Sim Sports, Global Flix, Motorvision.tv, Stengolm, ESTV, and Film Vault Limited.
Racing for Green is here to help you carbon neutralize your racing. By planting new trees, Racing for Green offers to make your racing carbon neutral. We already have the calculations, contacts, infrastructure, deals and solutions ready for you to easily buy carbon neutral laps on any racetrack. It doesn't matter if you are a racing fan, team owner, driver, sponsor or partner. Anyone can buy CO2 neutral laps in the Racing for Green webshop and trade CO2 emissions for New Forest. Racing for Green.
Just think about the fun things you do online. Diving into movies you love. Shopping. Enjoying free Wi-Fi with your morning coffee. Wait, who's that guy? Meet the Digital Snooper. It can be your internet service provider peeking at what you do online, or a cyber criminal on a mission to snitch your credit card info, or a hacker at the next table trying to steal your sensitive data. Uh-oh. But don't worry. NordVPN keeps all these snoopers away. It makes your internet activity private, protects you from accessing dangerous websites, and lets you enjoy your favorite content securely, even while away from home. The best part? It's just a click. Yep, internet security is that easy.
You can get NordVPN today at a 60% discount by visiting gtr24h.org/VPN.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the EEWC 12 Hours of Interlagos. It's round 4 of the season here at GTR 24H, and darkness is beginning to descend, or the sun is at least setting in the sky. You can see the shadows are becoming a bit more pronounced, which means the sparks become much more lively. On board with the Gadget Husit car, the 777, currently in command, or being commanded by Matthias Harvik. They are a little bit off the back of the GT3 field, but still pressing on nonetheless. Being only 3 GT3 engines in this race, they are on course to match their season best. That is, of course, assuming the car makes it to the end, because we've got, what, 5.5 hours remaining? 5.5? No, 5.5 hours done. 7.5 hours remaining. Beg your pardon, wishing the race away. So let's have a look at who is where and who is commanding what in the race, shall we? In our DPI class, it's the number 18 car of Best Esports Simplexity, now in the hands of Jene Simoncic. They not long earned themselves a drive-through penalty as David Mrocek had incorrectly not put the number 18 at the beginning of his name, as everybody else has done, as you can see. And Artem Shuleyev, I keep getting the right letters wrong order, for the number 17 Unison car. Just two DPI entrants in this race, unfortunately. And in our LMP field, again, this has been chopping and changing all race long. Robert Pound in the Juices car has the top spot. Actually, is the race leader at the moment, as the number 18 car had earned a drive-through penalty because of the naming issue. Damien Scott-Veron in the Burst number 94 car in second, in glass with Nabil Aslan in the 2179 Axel car, currently in third, in fourth in the race overall, third in class. For the GTEs, it's still being led by the DIS Racing Lab Porsche. They've maintained between 49 and 51 seconds over Wojciech Polesny, well, ahead of Juice's Motorsport a little more accurately, but Wojciech Polesny in command of the number 74 car at the moment, and doing what he can to try and whittle that gap down. Ivan Aguado in third in the MCM Motorsport number 27 car. There's Michael Francesconi in the 53 Musto Pescara Porsche, and then the 166 ID Simsport car of Michael Pedersen at the tail end of the GTE field. We sadly lost the 717 Unison car a little while ago, following a big spin on the exit of the Desidi del Lago. And the GT3 offering, it is Marte Kasperczyk in the Azatec Simsport by Valanti Racing number 585 Audi. Callum Wilson in the 404 Glam Racing Audi, about 17-ish seconds behind at the moment, but similar kind of pace between the two, with the Matthias Harvik, as we saw earlier on, in the DSR Gadget Husit Corvette. That is our field, and they've given us some fantastic racing over the last 5.5 hours. But we are getting into the realms. We're getting halfway through the race. We're well over a third of the way through now. And we've spoken to 102 drivers, and which has been good to see. Hopefully we'll have a chance to catch up with Maria Hinwak a little bit later on, who's part of the Glam Racing squad. So you mentioned earlier there was a bit of a sticker gate controversy going on between themselves and Burst, mainly down to Tom Olmenanger causing a bit of trouble. We spoke to Tom as well in his raincoat. Not quite why he was wearing the raincoat indoors is anyone's guess, but that's what he was doing. And so we look at Robert Pound. He's been in that car quite a while. He's been in the number 15 for quite a period of time. He is about 24 seconds ahead of Jene Simoncic. So a bit of a gap then between on-track positions between the two. Then the next car down the road is the Burst LMP2 car, as we look at Michael Francesconi with aforementioned Burst car. That's Damien Scovron just going past him. There's Robert Pound for duties, somewhat on his own. With the Gadget Husit and Glam Racing car directly ahead of them. Bear with me, just sending a message there to Maria for lining up to have a chat with her a little bit later on, which will be great to see. There's Robert with the 404 right behind him. I fast get to the end of my first drink of the night. The quick with two, but I knew I was solo in the box tonight. All credit to our production and race control teams in the background. Or literally couldn't do it without you. Our production man flying solo, Peter, who's been singing the samba at me every time we've gone. Every time we've gone to break, we've both gone samba. And of course, race control keeping an eye on everybody. Robert Pound keeping the Deuce's car, trying to point forwards. There's the other Deuce's car, Wojciech Polesny in the second place GTE car. Did he gain anything that time? Let's have a look at some lap time, shall we? No, because again, the DIS car has been able to match anything that Wojciech Polesny has been able to put forward. Now, Wojciech Polesny was the one that qualified that car on the top step of the GTE lineup, and he destroyed the qualifying laps, and he did it with very little time left in each session. He barely did any laps and just nailed the qualifying times, but hasn't quite been able to rediscover that raw pace, or does DIS has had an answer to it. Either way, they find themselves still in second, so still in a decent position as the LMP2 leader working his way through the traffic. Whoops, as Azatec to kick a bit of dust, which is quite a few times that's happened down at Desida del Lago and on the exit of Desida del Lago as well. On the way up the hill, why not? So coming up towards Ferradura is where that dust just got kicked up. There's our GTE leader, catching the back of the Gadget Husic car in the GT3 class. DIS Sim Racing. Again, we're not sure at any time who's in command of the car. Oh, that was close between Michael Francesconi and Robert Pound there. Certainly looked close from that angle, but I'm sure the Porsche was well aware of what the LMP car was doing. So could have backed off if he absolutely had to. And DIS car is very much on its own. It leads the class by 51 seconds now over Deuces, who in turn are over a lap ahead of the MCM Motorsport car. So, they themselves are really pressing on. And, there's Ivan Aguado, who has also been in that car a long time. I'm inclined to say he started that car, but he's certainly been in it for a fair period of time. So, I'm sure they're overdue a driver change at MCM. Of course, we don't know when the driver changes happen in DIS, as they happen in the racing lab. They're the only team where the drivers are gathered in a central location, and they hop in and out of the same rig, rather than everybody else, of course, being in their own homes and connecting remotely to the session. Now, as we hit the halfway station of the races, when the light will start to fail. Start to disappear, I should say. You can see the shadows beginning to kind of grow, and those that are running the headlights of the moon, you can see the effect being a bit more prominent on the floor. What that primarily means is the track temperature is now going to start to come down. It's around 26 degrees at the moment, which isn't particularly high in tracing. Ooh. Okay, let's have a look at that then. Good call, production. So we've got, if the race ended now, this is how the championship would look. Let's have a look at that whilst the race continues along its merry way. DPI then, let's have a look at how they stand. Well, Burst are still at the top of the standings. And there you go, that's how the championship currently looks. Oh, well, we can have a look at these anyway, because these are still relevant. So, taking the whole points, all bar 1 point so far is Burst. They will take the pole point for today as well. And some 32 points back is Unison. Now they'll gain another 10 points. Well, no, actually, it won't be quite as many as that, because, of course, if the race finishes now, another 25 points, actually 26 points, 27 points, beg your pardon, because they'll, of course, get the race participation point. So 27 points will go to Burst, assuming that, or if the race ended now, they would take that. So it would be 107 for them and 16 for Unison. So that would make that gap. Would it be enough for them to claim the title? I'm terrible at maths, so I'm not actually going to guess that. Oh, there we go. That's the point standings that they are now. So whilst I was trying to figure that out, the points standings have updated. So it would leave 40 points deficit with 50 points on the table. So Burst wouldn't take the top spot tonight. It'll be close, but not quite there. They can pretty much ignore either Spa or Le Mans, and whoever wants to ignore those two tracks. So, LMP2 then. If the race ended now, Burst would be ahead of 79 Axel by 4. 79 Axel were in the lead of the championship barely. No, beg your pardon, 79 Axel and Burst were level coming into this race. That's right. They were level on... Well, they were until Burst earned the point for pole. So Burst technically were 1 point ahead. So Burst would be 4 points ahead if the race ended as it is now, with Juices up. Sorry, they were only third before, so they would maintain their grip on third position, as we haven't seen the Iris cars or the Cyberlynx car. GCE, let's have a look a little bit further down. So Juices leading the way by quite some distance in that category over the DIS Sim Racing Lab, but that lead will drop a little bit. But again, would it drop enough? Well, there you go. It would be 30. There'll be 29 points between the two. So DIS keeping themselves very much in the fight. MCM up to third ahead of Newgame, with Unison. Now they had started the race, so therefore they would still earn points for finishing. Well, they didn't finish the race, but they would still earn points because they participated in it. So therefore they would jump up. They jump up ahead of the absent Mastara car, the number 54, and the 53 would be ahead of the ID Simsport car by just a single point. So lots of battling still going on in the mid to lower part of the GT field, and that championship still very much alive. And the GT3s are still very, very close. Volante would still have the top spot, as they're of course leading the way, and they would extend that lead over what would now be Glam Racing, as CKR aren't here. But the Gadget Huset squad would go from 6th up to 3rd by scoring themselves 15 points and putting themselves ahead of all 4 absent teams. So a big jump up for DSR, whether they finish or not. Essentially, they've taken part and they would be on for 3rd as an absolute minimum. But if disaster befalls our other Audis, they could climb up equally. If Volante have trouble, they could overhaul Glam. Glam could overhaul them, etc., etc. So we will see another penalty being worn. So car number 18, that's our lead DPI. All 4 wheels outside the track several times. They've had their warning. They've earned themselves a drive-through penalty. Oh my goodness me, Yone Simoncic, you have a drive-through to serve. Oh goodness me, and that's also part of the problem. You could kind of take over the penalty score of your previous driver. So, goodness me, Simoncic now has a couple of laps to bring that car through the pits for a drive-through. He'll still lead a couple of laps ahead of Unison in the DPI class, so it's not going to cost them that much time, but they don't want to keep on scoring themselves penalties. That will very much add up and bring Unison very much back into the DPI fight. And in comes there's Robert Powell, our race leader, LMP2 and race leader, coming in now to serve a pit stop. And is Yone Simoncic going to come in as well? Stop, Robert. There we go. Straight up on the jacks and a pit stop to serve. There is Ivan Aguado. Now all the visual references start to really subtly change. The shadows aren't in the same place. The colors aren't quite so vibrant. And these little subtle changes you've used for subconscious breaking points all begin to change. And you don't necessarily realize how much of a difference it makes. And there you go, you can see the skyline starting to darken as somebody kicks up dust there, coming through Junqiao. That sun is certainly setting now, starting to dip below the horizon, and started to descend below the horizon. So the shadows start to grow, the headlights become more obvious, the sparks start to get brighter and things like that. So like I say, all the shadows aren't in the same place they've been all race long. So we are heading towards the darker times. I look forward to that. Our drivers might not, but I certainly am. As Yanni Simoncic still has yet to serve his driving penalty. That's a Nabil Aslan in the picture-in-picture. So, Yanni Simoncic, is he going to come in this time? We will see, as there is Nabil Aslan's car, right behind the Deuce's car. Is that a battle for position? It is! Okay, so that is actually a battle for second. So that's how quickly the pit stops can make things happen. So now a battle for second place between Darius Andre in LMP2 and Nabil Aslan, and now the 18 car is now serving its drive-through, or has now served its drive-through. Let's keep an eye very much then. Oh, the Gajahusi car is right in the wrong place. That's great English for you. He's just been caught out there. Nabil Aslan has managed to make his way through, but that definitely cost him a few seconds. Again, no fault of the it's not Harvick anymore. It's back to Carl Likegaard. Carl Likegaard did nothing wrong. He just happened to be in the wrong place at the wrong time as far as Nabil Aslan was concerned. And that has potentially diluted the battle for second in the LMP2s a little bit, but we will see. He's able to get back on the case, or if Darius Andre gets held up by somebody else. Who is that? I think that's the Mastaro Pescara car that is there, and Aslan just dances around it, keeps himself within a second of Darius Andre. Now, can Nabil close in? That's the big question here. As we said, Nabil Aslan has taken a little while to get up to speed. Or get up to the general LMP2 pace in the 7.9 axle car, and again, that's not meant as a derogatory comment. There's no disrespect meant. It's an unfortunate fact that he's been a little bit slower. Not been by much. It's only been by a few tenths a lap, but he has been a little bit off the LMP2 pace. But now he's certainly got something to chase, depending on how much longer he can stay out of the pit lane for, as he dances past Ivan Aguado in the MCM Motorsport car, third place in the GTE class. Let's see now. And again, that's the ID Sinsport car, I believe, that is directly ahead of us now, that Andre has now gone past. And Aslan hugs the inside line, gets past the ID Sinsport car. Does he come in? No, he's remaining out. So, again, because the pit stops are so diverse in this field, it's difficult to know who is due to come in. Either way, what's the lap time last time around? A little bit kind of skewed, you could argue, because of the presence of back markers. They were only 100th apart, or 18 thousandths apart even, between Darius Andre and Nabil Aslan. Very nicely done indeed. We've got someone in the pits. Ivan Aguado has actually brought the 27 MCM car in. Is he going to hand that over to someone, or is he going to carry on his merry way? I'll keep an eye on that to see if name changes. Nabil Aslan trying his best to close that gap down. And into the pits comes Damian Scavron. The Burst Esports Gooder Sunglasses car is now in. So it's Burst 1 and 2 again, as we had at the beginning of the race. Does look like that Darius Andre's got the pace advantage here in the LMP2 class, or of these LMP2 cars, I should say. Ooh, Aslan was nearly too deep coming through Junqiao there. Any sign of pit stop? Well, there's not going to be a pit stop for Darius Andre because he's not long come out of the pits. And Nabil Aslan continues on his way. And Scovron is still in the pits, so now Darius Andre will take over the LMP2 lead for the number 15, the Juices Motorsports. Now there's a nice slow-mo of the sparks being kicked up of our LMP2 leader indeed. And there's the 79 axle car. Doesn't do the sparks, so disappointed. Does the Azatec car do it? No, but he spits fire at us, that'll do. Putting on a bit of a show for us. And the Bill Aslan now has fallen a little bit off the back. That's now 3.5 seconds between himself and Darius Andre, so that's he really has lost the tail end of the Juices car. But in fairness, the Juices car is really starting to press on now. A 20.688 for him, a 21.816 for the 79 axle car. So Darius Andre has picked it up a gear, and you can see him still directly ahead, but sadly Aslan is not able to hang on to the back. There is our former LMP leader, Damien Scovron, in the burst car. He's, what is he, 32 seconds behind. And what have we got here? I'm just being highlighted something here. I'm not sure what it is I'm being highlighted to. Okay, I'm not sure what that is. I'll let race control argue that one. I don't think it's a message from me particularly. So I can see what the race control messages are, but they're not always something I need to broadcast. But of course, I need to look at them to figure out which ones are and are not. There's Yane, who again remains unchallenged at the moment. He's on very similar pace. Actually, both burst cars are within half a tenth of each other as far as pace is concerned. The DPI and LMP cars are very, very closely matched. There's Michael Pedersen back in command. Oh, it has been for a little while actually. The ID Simsport car, the 166. 32.994, his last lap. So back into the rhythm if nothing else. There's Yone again coming through Desili Delago. There's Nabil Aslan. He's coming back out of the pits, so he's now served his stop in the 79 axle car. Or served his next stop, I should say. And there he is, just coming out of the pit lane, right behind the Juices number 74. Wojtek Pelesny is still in command of that. It's now a full lap behind the DIS car, so it's a bit of a shame that Wojtek's not been able to rediscover that pole setting pace that we saw in the qualifying sessions yesterday, although I think the number 74 car now has the class fastest lap of a 29.536. And that must be fairly recent that we've seen that. So upon mentioning that, let's have a look at how our classes stack up. As always, I was at the Porter trying to start up Sparks. Well, no, they didn't do it either. It only really seems to be the LMP and DPI cars are able to bottom out there. The darker it gets, the more obvious that becomes. As we are very nearly at the top of another hour, would you believe? 5 hours is just about to expire. Absolutely unbelievable. The great action that our slightly smaller field has put on for us has been absolutely fantastic. As Yone Simicic maintains his grip of the lead, now 50 seconds ahead of his of what is now the Juices car of Darius Andre, as Damien Scovron is now having pitted, is now 37 seconds behind him. There is Nabil Aslan, as we saw not long going through the pit lane himself. 20 seconds behind Artem Shulev in the Unison Racing number 17. As another hour is concluded, 5 down, 7 to go, almost halfway through. It is time to have another message from our commercial partners.
The 2022 Endurance eRacing World Championship brought to you in partnership with Viper Gaming by Patriot, Azatec Simsports, Global Flix, Motorvision.tv, Stengolm, ESTV, and Film Vault Limited.
Just think about the fun things you do online. Diving into movies you love. Shopping. Enjoying free Wi-Fi with your morning coffee. Wait, who's that guy? Meet the Digital Snooper. It can be your internet service provider peeking at what you do online, or a cyber criminal on a mission to snitch your credit card info, or a hacker at the next table trying to steal your sensitive data. Uh-oh. But don't worry, NordVPN keeps all these snoopers away. It makes your internet activity private, protects you from accessing dangerous websites, and lets you enjoy your favorite content securely, even while away from home. The best part? It's just a click. Yep, internet security is that easy.
You can get NordVPN today at a 60% discount by visiting gtr24h.org/VPN. Racing for Green is here to help you carbon neutralize your racing. By planting new trees, Racing for Green offers to make your racing carbon neutral. We already have the calculations, contacts, infrastructure, deals and solutions ready for you to easily buy carbon neutral laps on any racetrack. It doesn't matter if you are a racing fan, team owner, driver, sponsor or partner. Anyone can buy CO2 neutral laps in the Racing for Green webshop and trade CO2 emissions for New Forest. Racing for Green.